Hey, what's up guys, Phil here, and this is a review for the Andoer 4K handheld video camera. You'll receive the video camera in a carrying case, a mini HDMI to HDMI cable, an AV to RCA cable, mini USB charging cable, and instruction manual. The camera is small and compact. It measures about 5 3/4 inches including the battery, by 2.5 inches wide and 2.5 inches tall. It weighs about 12 ounces with the battery installed. The camera has a hand pad and strap pre-installed, though no lens cap. Remember to remove the plastic battery saver tab when you first receive this camera. The battery slides onto the back of the unit and simply clicks into place. A full charge will last you a little over 2 hours of continuous recording time. On the front of the unit, you have the lens with 48 megapixel sensor, and below that is the microphone. Next to the lens are infrared lights for night vision. Towards the back on top, you have the zoom switch, photo shutter button, and mode key. On the back where your thumb sits is where the record button is for video mode. On the left-hand side is a flip-out LCD monitor. The camera turns on automatically when the LCD is opened. The screen is fully articulated and can rotate 270 degrees. It locks in at every 90 degrees. When folded flat with the screen facing out, the camera stays on. If you close the LCD though with the screen facing in, the camera automatically shuts off. On the inside panel is the micro SD card slot, power button, display Wi-Fi button, menu button, playback mode button, and menu navigation keys. The screen is also touch sensitive and you can access some of the functions by tapping the icons on the screen. Entering menu presents the settings for the mode that you're in. So in video mode you have selections like loop recording, while in photo mode you have different selections like anti-shake and face detection. In any mode you can access the general settings by switching tabs. The touchscreen works well, but you have to be really precise where you tap, otherwise it's easy to make a wrong selection. Short pressing the display key toggles on and off the settings icons or can switch the LCD panel off. Long pressing it brings up Wi-Fi mode so you can connect to a smartphone and use it as a remote screen. Well, at least theoretically. I actually wasn't able to get the Novacam app recommended in the manual to work with this camera. Under the rubber door in the corner is the AV out port, mini USB port for charging the battery, running off external power or transferring files, and the mini HDMI output port. On the bottom, this flip open door covers a full-size SD card slot, and you can use both a micro SD and a full-sized SD card for twice the storage space. A memory card is not included with the camera though, and it has no internal memory. Next to the card slot is the battery lock eject key. There's also a 1/4 inch mounting hole on the bottom of the camera for tripod mounting. During the day, the image quality of the video and photos is clear and detailed. The video is faithfully high resolution at 1080p, 2K, and 4K, although at 4K the frame rate is only 24 frames per second, so you'll likely see a little more choppiness. Let's compare the different resolutions. This is the 4K at 24 frames per second. This is the 2K at 30 frames per second. This is 1080p at 60 frames per second. And this is 1080p at 30 frames per second. This is an audio test of the Andoer 4K camera. I'm standing about 4 feet in front of the camera right now. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. The microphone picks up sounds and voices within a few feet from the camera, but it's generally not that loud, and I had to bump up the gain in post-processing. Now I'm standing about 8 feet away from the camera and speaking at the same volume. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. There also isn't an audio input jack for using an external microphone. And finally, now I'm about 2 feet away from the camera. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. The biggest drawback to having a fixed lens is that the focus range is only good after about 6 feet. Anything closer than 6 feet to the lens tends to look a little bit blurry, and macro recording is not possible with this camera. Even with loop recording off, the longest video clip is 25 minutes before the camera starts a new file. At 4K, a 1-minute video file of footage takes up about 200 megabytes. At 2K, a 1-minute clip is 150 megabytes. and at 1080p it's 100 megabytes. The zoom on this camera is all digital, and it goes up to 16 times magnification. Zooming in and out is generally smooth, but the image quality is reduced when you're zoomed in all the way. The camera does a decent job with the automatic settings for white balance, color balance, and ISO. These menu options are only accessible in the photo mode though, even though they carry over to video mode. In video mode, you can only adjust the exposure when recording live by tapping the icon on the LCD screen. With the anti-shake on, the images tend to look a little more clear than without it. In dark conditions, you'll want to put on the infrared lights. This makes the footage black and white, but you can see everything in the dark as if looking through night vision goggles. You can quickly toggle on and off this mode using the icon on the screen or by pressing the right navigation button. Overall, the camera captures videos and photos at very high HD resolution. The image quality is smooth, crisp, and detailed. This camera doesn't do that great with fast motion though at 4K, and it still doesn't quite make 30 frames per second at the highest resolution, but otherwise it's a solid handheld camera that will still make for nice quality family videos, YouTube productions, and B-roll footage. I hope you enjoyed this review. You can ask me any questions in the comments. I'll put a link to the product in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and join me next time.